So let's try it out. Click on the input, switching, and there it is. What's up YouTube friends? We're back here with the 42-inch LG C3, and today's video is going to be doing some testing. Now, this is a follow-up to the last video that I dropped. First of all, I want to thank all of you that have submitted comments on that already. Let me know what your situation is, if you're experiencing the same problems on your LG TV or your Xbox. I appreciate the feedback there. Pretty mixed crowd so far, it looks like. Looks like some of you have had problems. Some of you have had your Xbox a couple of years, no issues. Your LG a couple of years, no issues. So today is going to be testing day. So let me pull up the inputs here real quick. And you'll notice right away in comparison to the last video, it's now only showing HDMI 2 where the Xbox is plugged in. And that's because I have unplugged the Xbox from the TV, and we're just kind of doing a start over here. It's almost like this is the first time it's being connected, and so it's not recognizing yet because the Xbox Series X has not been powered on yet for this particular first time with the LG C3 here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get a power up going here, and we're going to take a look and see how the TV connects with the console and vice versa. What I'm looking for is on this input over here, I'm looking for it to recognize it as a game console, for it to say Xbox game console. That's the first step to knowing whether this is connected properly. So let's go ahead and get the controller here. Here we go. Let's get that first power up going. There we are. Chime, Xbox light showing. It shows HDMI 2 up there in the top right hand corner. I should say Xbox game console there. So not off to a great start, but let's just see. First of all, the TV, the way this is set up, should automatically switch to that input. When I power on the PS5, it shows PS5 game console in the top right hand corner, and then it switches over to that input. There we go. So the TV did finally recognize it, says it's an Xbox, connection is automatically blah, blah, blah. Still curious why it hasn't switched over yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the inputs. And as you can see here, it is showing Xbox game console. There's the controller. Everything looks how it should here. Everything's looking good. Now, the real question here is when I click on this to switch over, am I going to be getting the Xbox resolution problem? Or am I going to be getting the full display showing up across the screen and load up properly? So let's try it out. Click on the input, switching, and there it is. In all its glory, that's beautiful. This is exactly what should happen every single time I load up the Xbox Series X with the LG C3 here. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And as a further test, here's the remote. Let's go ahead and click the settings button. Make sure the game dashboard comes up as I bang the desk. There we go. So it did pull up properly. You see the data manipulated there. Not manipulated. You see the data across the dashboard there. Everything is looking good. 4K resolution, 119 FPS. It's kind of weird. This should be 120, but it always shows 119. VRR, HDR off. That's correct. Xbox Series X. We're almost to 2024. We're in late 2023, and we still don't have an HDR home menu like the PS5, Xbox. What the are you doing? But here on the very first connection, I got exactly what I was looking for, is this to power up and connect itself properly and load into the full screen display and display the proper data just how I was hoping. So the next step from here is, now that we've kind of passed the first checklist with this, what I'll be curious to see is what happens when I power this console down, let it go completely asleep or completely powered down. No, I shouldn't say asleep. Let the console completely power down until it shows gray. I'll pull up the inputs again. Until it goes gray, like the PS5 over here, that lets me know that it's inactive completely. What happens on that next power up, in my opinion, will tell the story on how this is going to play out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So let's go ahead and get a power down here. So I'm going to go to settings. We're going to go to power options, shut down. Okay, so we are completely powered down now. You see on the controller, no power. You see over on the Xbox over there, The power indicator is off. We'll pull up the inputs. It's now grayed out. That lets me know it's completely inactive. So the real test here wasn't necessarily the first connection. The real test is how will it perform once I power it up again for the first time? You know, drop a comment below. Any takers on how you think this is going to play out? You think I'm going to get the stupid resolution problem, or do you think it's going to power up correctly this time around on the first try? I'll be curious to see what your responses are, but here we go. So we've got the controller again. We're going to do that process over. Powering up. And let's see what we get. We should get an Xbox splash screen. And there it is. And it loaded in perfect. Okay, so the question begs here, as we kind of take a step back for a moment, this begs the question of what transpired the first time I connected this console to the LG C3 to have it connect properly the first time around, just like it did in this video, but every subsequent time after powering it down that first time on that initial startup, the next day, 2 days later, whatever it is, it would always go to that low resolution screen. And as you noticed in the prior video, it took me 4 full shutdowns and restarts to get it to power up correctly, like you saw in this video, that actually transpired the very first time that I powered it back up. So I can't say that I'm completely confident that this is solved, because simply all I did was unplug the console at the console. I didn't even unplug the power cable from the outlet. I only unplugged it from the back of the console, and I unplugged the HDMI from the back of the console, and that's the only thing I've done that I've changed since the prior video. So I can't say that I'm completely sold that this is now resolved, but I am happy to see that on the original connection, once the display recognized what it was, said, hey, I've got an Xbox Series X connected on HDMI 2. Once it loaded into this home menu, it did do that properly. That was good to see. But I'm more excited to see it after that initial shutdown. So the testing is going to continue. If all I had to do was unplug the power cable and the HDMI cable, resync it up with the display, and now we're good to go. I find that hard to believe, but you never know. Maybe that's all it took. Maybe it just needed a new, air quotes, initial handshake with the HDMI cable and the power supply, and we're good to go. Like I said, find it hard to believe, but we'll see. I am pleased to see where things are progressing after this initial test. So that's going to do it for this particular video. Those of you that watched my prior video and chimed in, really appreciate that. Keep those comments coming, because like I said, I'm not convinced that this is fixed now. So I'm always looking at your feedback. I appreciate when you make recommendations to try out. And if you do have a recommendation to try out, like you had this exact same problem with similar display, Xbox Series X, and you fixed it once and for all, leave that in the comments section, and I'll do a video doing exactly those steps, and we'll test it out on my setup to see if it works for mine as well. I'd love to do that. So as always, appreciate you watching. I appreciate the channel support. For those of you that took the time to watch the video, comment on it, leave a like so that the videos get circulated to more people. And if you're new to my channel, appreciate you watching. Maybe you've seen enough, consider subscribing, and if you do, make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss my future uploads. But with that said, as always, until the next one.